Hey guys, it's Mr. McMahon. The last time we talked, we were looking at different Native American groups of Mesoamerica and South America. We talked about the Maya, the Aztec, and Inca. Today we're going to look at three groups of people from North America: the Anasazi and Pueblo, the Southwest United States; the Eastern Woodlands, which includes the Adena and Hopewell of the Great Lakes region; and the Mississippian culture of the southeast part of the United States. So the Native Americans of North America, this is standard 644 from the South Carolina Standard Course of Study. And so our learning objectives for this is that for the three groups of people from North America, the Anasazi and Pueblo, the Eastern Woodlands, including the Adena and Hopewell, and the Mississippians, we're going to try to identify their contributions, explain their features, or in other words, their characteristics, and explain their rise and fall. So how did these three groups of people begin? Well, their origins, if you look in bubble number 1, they were originally hunter-gatherers. But during the Ice Age, bubble 2, water levels froze, sea levels fell, and we got a new land bridge in number 3, which is called Beringia. So here's their migration, the hunter-gatherers. If you'll notice in bubble 1, they crossed the Bering Strait between Asia and North America across the land bridge Beringia. And number 2 is when they were able to get into the Americas about 12,000 years ago. And these groups of people learned agriculture. And agriculture made the hunter-gatherers become civilized. And they learned agriculture from three groups of people: the Maya, the Aztec, and the Inca from Mesoamerica. So the first group of people we're going to talk about are the Anasazi and Pueblo. The Anasazi and Pueblo, as you'll see encircled in red, were located in the southwest part of the United States, which includes the following states in 2016: the state of Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. And the place they settled, the Anasazi, was called Chaco Canyon. So the ancestors of the Pueblo were originally called the Anasazi. Now the Anasazi and Pueblo agriculture, we call it the Three Sisters. The Three Sisters were squash, beans, and corn. For their agriculture, they used irrigation. So being in the southwest part of the United States, in bubble 1, when they would have heavy rains, they captured this rain off the cliffs as it came down the cliffs, as you see in number 2. And then in number 3, they would use dams and ditches and water basins to contain the water and use it during the dry period. So irrigation was very important to the Anasazi and Pueblo. So the Anasazi and Pueblo had different types of art. Bubble 1, they used turquoise jewelry, and turquoise would be the color. Number 2, they used woven baskets. And number 3 was black on white pottery. Okay, trade. The Anasazi and Pueblo used turquoise jewelry as a form of money to trade with those groups of people from Mesoamerica, including the Maya, the Aztec, and the Inca. So Anasazi and Pueblo housing. If you'll notice in bubble number 1, they lived in apartment-like houses that were carved into cliffs. Now the original Spanish explorers called this Pueblos, which is the Spanish word for villages. In bubble number 2, you'll notice this is an adobe style of brick. Adobe is a brick that is sun-dried earth and straw, and they used it to build their homes. And then bubble number 3, this is what we call a mesa. This is where the Anasazi built their Pueblos. A mesa is a high, flat-topped hill. Now, the most famous Anasazi and Pueblo settlement was called Pueblo Bonito. It had about approximately 1,000 people, and there were 800 rooms carved in the cliffs of Chaco Canyon. Now, the decline of the Anasazi and Pueblo is we believe that after about a 50-year drought in bubble 1, the civilization moved, and that was their decline. So the original inhabitants of the southwest part of the United States, you had the Anasazi. Then they became the Pueblo, and the descendants we see today are the Hopi and the Zuni. The next group of people we're going to look at are the Eastern Woodlands, which includes the Adena and the Hopewell. If you'll notice in the circled bubble, their location is really what we call the Great Lakes region of the United States. The Eastern Woodlands, first you had the Adena. They're from 500 BC to 100 AD. And then second, you get the Hopewell from 200 BC to AD 500. So more specific about the Adena and Hopewell, you'll notice in green, this was the original site of the Adena for number one. And then number two, you'll notice they settled along what we call the Ohio River. And then number three, the orange area is where we had the Hopewell culture. Like other Native American civilizations, they used agriculture. They used squash. They planted sunflower. Number three is gourds. And number four is they did different types of barley. Now, they had a pretty extensive trade network. So you'll notice the Adena and Hopewell went as far west as Wyoming, as far south as the Gulf of Mexico, as far east as the Atlantic Ocean, and as far north as the Great Lakes in Canada. So the Adena and Hopewell were known as what we call the mound builders. Now in bubble one, you'll notice this is a type of a mound, and it's built in the shape of a serpent snake. So a lot of their mounds were built in the shapes of animals. In bubble two, you'll notice that their mounds were built as burial sites. And then in number three, they placed weapons, jewelry, and fine carvings in their mounds in order to honor their dead. So they are known as the mound builders. The decline, we think that the Adena eventually became the Hopewell. And we think the Hopewell declined for one of three theories. Theory one, severe drought or climate change, and they decided to leave. Number two, some type of civil war amongst each other there in the Hopewell. Or number three, they were attacked by an outside group. Okay, the next group is called the Mississippian culture. The Mississippian culture was between 800 AD and 1700 AD. You'll notice in this map that the Mississippian culture is located in the southeast part of the United States around the Mississippi River. Okay, the agriculture of the Mississippian culture was in bubble one, they used the rich floodplains along rivers, and then they grew several crops. Again, it looks like the three sisters. Number two is corn, number three is squash, and number four is beans. The success of their agriculture led to large cities, and this city here is called Cahokia, which we found in southwest Illinois, and it had 30,000 people when it was at its largest. Now, the Mississippian also did mound building, but they are not known as the mound builders. Their mounds were for different purposes. You'll notice in number one that their mounds were pyramid shaped. They had flat tops, and some of the highest rose to about 100 feet. And then there really was three purposes of their mounds. Number one, they were temples or for religious reasons. Number two, homes for the rich, and rulers could stand at the top of their mound and gaze down on the smaller mounds. And then number four, they were used as burial sites. The decline of the Mississippian. Well, we know that it stopped somewhere around 1300 AD in number one. Number two, cities like Cahokia, we just know they abandoned them, and these cities collapsed, and we're not really sure the reasons why. Now, two of the theories in bubble number three, first of all, maybe they were attacked by an outside group. Number four, maybe some type of drought or climate change, but what we know is that they became too big to feed themselves for some reason. All right, so that was our video on the Native Americans of North America. So now you're ready for our unit test, which will include this group of people, plus the Maya, the Aztec, and the Inca. Good luck.